Hello and welcome to the Simple CRUD project. In this project, you will get accustomed to using the Angular boilerplate code used as our basis for starting new projects. You will learn how to perform CRUD operations to create, read, update, and delete from a list of products. We'll introduce many of the basic concepts within Angular, such as the ng-for and ng-if directives, along with using components, services, and bindings with ng-model. We'll also be designing a form that is template-driven to add and edit our products. And now, let's preview our application. And here's the application that we'll be building. Right here, we're displaying our product list. I have the option of removing product items by clicking on this minus symbol. I can edit products right here. So within the product details, I can change this to something else, changing the ID, for example. And I can also add new products, so I can click this plus button, and I'll add a new product. And I can click submit, and you can see that it gets added to my list of products. I've opened up my terminal here and navigated into my examples folder. So this is where I want my new projects to be located. Here I'm going to clone the repo that I'll be using for all of these projects, and it's located at jackblack/ng2_boilerplate.git. And I'm going to name this folder Simple CRUD. And now I've opened up my text editor. I'm using Sublime Text. And now I'm going to bring into my text editor the Simple CRUD cloned repo and open up this folder structure. So inside here I have a yarn.lock file which is going to bring down the npm modules. I have a tsconfig file which is going to set the compiler options for our TypeScript. I have a systemjs.config file which is going to serve as the module loader. I have a package.json which is going to list all of the modules that we'll need. Here you can see that we're using Angular 4. And I'm going to add in one more package right now, which is going to be for our font awesome. So I'll put that right below Bootstrap. I have my index file, which is going to load up our Angular application right here. I'm going to add in one more link reference to a style sheet for our font awesome right here. Inside of our app folder contains the basic setup for our Angular application. The main.ts file serves as the loader, which is going to load up the app module. So let's look at this app module file. The app module file first loads up the main Angular modules that we use throughout the application. Here we have the 3 components that we're using as our setup. We're also including an app routing module, so let's look at that file. This file is going to determine our routes. So right now we're just including a path to our root location, which points to our home component. Inside of our app.component.ts file is the selector that we display in our index file, and it points to our app.template.html file. So if we look at that, on every page we're going to be displaying this navbar, and then below that is our router outlet. So here is where we're going to display the defined routes. So in our app routing file, we're going to be loading up the home component to display in the root. So let's open that up. And the home component right now is just going to display an h1 tag saying welcome to the home component. Our nav menu is going to display a simple nav bar with our app name. And we've defined the app name right here, which is Angular Boilerplate. Inside of our shared folder is where we're going to contain our CSS files. We'll be putting images inside of this shared folder. And we'll also put in here anything that we want to be used in multiple components, such as custom pipes. In all these files, you can see that we're getting squiggly lines for our @Angular syntax. And that's because we need to actually download these modules. So I can do that by going back into my terminal, and then I need to cd into the folder that we created, which was simple CRUD. And here I can type either yarn or npm install in order to download our npm modules. If you're using yarn, you need to have yarn installed, and that's as simple as going to yarnpkg.org and downloading the installer for your system. Otherwise, you can just type npm install. And while those are being downloaded, I'm going to make one adjustment to my project, and I want to remove all of the JavaScript files from appearing in my editor. So I only want to see the TypeScript files. So inside of my project, I can go to Edit Project, and here I'm just going to add in my file excludes. So I'm going to exclude my JavaScript files and my javascript.map files. If you're using another editor like Visual Studio or Brackets, they also have something similar where you can exclude your JavaScript files. I can run my application by saying npm start. And this is what your application should look like at this point. A simple welcome to the home component message. So in this project, we just have the one route in which we display the products and that we perform CRUD operations on. So for this project, what I'll do is go ahead and rename this folder and some of my files to something more appropriate, and let's just rename these to products. So now in this products folder, we're going to have a product component and a product template file. So I'll just rename this like that, and then I'll do the same for my home template. So now in our product component, we're going to be pointing to the product template, and I'll rename our component to product component, and I'll make sure to make this change inside of our app module as well as our app routing. So here now we're going to be importing the product component from products / product component, and I'll make sure to make the adjustment inside of my declarations. And now I'll copy over the import statement into my app routing file. And now I'll make sure to change my component path to product component. I'll save all these, close them out, and now let's create a couple new files. So inside of my products folder, the first one that I'll create is going to be for our interface, and this is going to be called product.ts. And I'm also going to have a service. So let's name that product.service.ts. Inside of my service, I'm going to add the basic scaffold for this file. So I have a snip called scr, which I can use for my text editor. And the name of the service is going to be product service. And I'm going to get rid of both my HTTP and my observable since we will not be using them. And I can also get rid of my constructor. I know that I'm going to be using my product interface in this file, so I'm going to import it now. So I'll import product from its location at /product. And now let's go ahead and define our product interface. So here I'll say export interface, which is going to be called product. and it's going to contain 4 properties. The first is ID, which is of type number. Then we'll have name, which is of type string. We'll have a description, which is going to be of type string. And we'll have a price, which is going to be of type number. Now, since we have a new service file, I need to make sure that I import this into my app module. And I will do that right below my components. So we'll say import product service from its location at /products/product.service. And then I can add in my new product service to the list of providers. And one more thing that I'll do here is inside of my product template HTML file, and here I'm going to copy and paste in the raw HTML. So this is the non-angularized HTML that we'll be using. So you can go ahead and copy this from the resources. And here we're just going to be displaying the product list, which is going to contain a table of our product ID, name, description, and price. And then below that, we're going to have a form which we're going to be using to both edit products as well as add new products. And if you go and check out your application, this is what it should look like. So let's now take our first step in making this a real application. So to get things started, I'm going to just paste in a couple products inside of our product service. So what we'll do is inside of our component, we're going to call this getProducts method, which is going to return an array of 3 products that we're going to use to display within our application. Now inside of my product component, I'm going to start this off by first importing our product interface from its location at product. Next up, I'm going to say that my class implements this onInit, and I'll define my ng onInit right here. I'm going to define one property here at the top, which is going to be products, and this is going to contain an array of the products that we get back from our service. Below that, we're going to be using a service, so I need to make sure that I inject the service into a constructor. So inside my constructor, I'll make a private reference to my service, which we'll call underscore product service. And this is going to be of type product service. And of course, we need to go ahead and import this service into our component. So we'll just say import product service from its location at /product service. And then I need to close out the constructor with these curly braces. Inside of my ng onInit, I'm going to make a call to a method that I'm going to create down below, which is going to be called getProducts. So I'll say this.getProducts and invoke this method. And now let's go ahead and create our getProducts method. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set the products property that we created right here to our getProducts service. So we'll say this dot underscore product service dot getProducts. So now we'll have our products property, which is going to contain all of the products that we defined right here in our service. And if this is confusing, we can always rename this to something different like getProducts from service, and then just change this name inside of our service. And now let's add our products binding to our product template. Okay, so here's our table row, and this is where we're going to define our for loop. So we can say star and then ng4 is equal to, and we'll say let product of products, and this products is the property that we defined in our component. And now we can iterate over and display each one of the product properties within the table below. So we'll start off by saying the ID is product.id. The product name is going to be product.name. Product description is product.description. And the product price is product.price. Now let's save all. And on refresh, you can see that our products are now being displayed within our list right here. So at this point, we've hard-coded our products into our service. So this is something that you're never going to do. We're going to be getting our data from somewhere, whether it's a database or an outside API. And for this example, we're going to be storing our data locally. And the way that I can do that is by creating a product data file that's going to contain the array of products that we can then perform CRUD operations on. So go ahead and create a new file, and we'll call this product-data.ts. So inside of this product data file, I'm going to first import our product, which is the interface, from our /product location. And inside here, I'm going to say export a constant, which is going to be an array containing our products. And I'm going to call this product_items. This is going to be of type product, which is going to be an array. And then I'm going to set it equal to what we have in our product service file. So I can just take this over from where the array starts, so from right here, and copy it over and paste it in. Okay, so let's go back into my service, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment this out, and instead we're going to get our products from our data file. So we'll create a new method here, and this is going to be called getProductsFromData. And it's going to return the same type, which is product, which is going to be an array of products. And now I need to make sure that I import our product items from its location at /product-data. At the very top here, I'm going to create a private variable which is going to contain the product items. And I'm going to name this variable p_items and just set it equal to our product items. Now when we call this method, it's going to return all of our product items. So I want to see what that looks like. So I can just make a log statement of our p_items, then return this .p_items. So this is doing the same exact thing that we did below with the return statement. And now inside of my product component, all I should have to do is change this from getProductsFromService to getProductsFromData. And when we save and refresh our application, you can see it still looks the same. So one thing to notice here is that this is really just an example application to get you familiar with our projects and to show you how we can perform CRUD using JavaScript. So we're not using observables, we're not using promises, which means that we're not checking for errors and we're not doing a lot of real-world stuff, except, again, getting acquainted with our projects. Let's now work on this product details form. So what we'll do is we'll hide this form unless somebody clicks on either this plus button or this edit button. And if they click on this edit button, then we'll populate the form with the current product details. For this example, I'm going to be using template-driven forms. So most of the logic for the form itself is going to be contained within the template. So let's start at the top here and define a new property for the form. And this property is going to be called product form. It's going to be of type Boolean, and it's going to have an initial state of false. I'm going to create one more property here, which is going to be called isNewForm. And this is going to be of type Boolean. So since we're using the same form for new products and for editing products, we'll make sure to specify whether or not the form that we're using is a new form or contains the product details. Now inside of my product template, I can scroll down here, and inside of this form element is where I can put my ngIf. So I can simply say star and then ngIf equals product form. So now I'll go ahead and save all. And now you can see our application is now hiding the form. Let's also go ahead and add in our binding for our click events when somebody clicks on the edit button or the plus button. So the first button right here is going to be for the edit. So we can say click, and the method that we'll bind to is going to be the show edit product form. And we're going to pass in the product. And then down below, we'll declare our click event for when somebody wants to create a new product. So this will be right here. And so this click event is going to bind to the method called show add product form, which will not take any parameters. Now inside of this form, I also want to bind to our product details. So I'm going to bind here to each one of the products, and I can do that using ngModel. So inside of these parentheses and brackets, we can say ngModel, which is going to create two-way data binding, and we're going to set it equal to a property that we'll create in the component, which is going to be called new product. So right here, we're displaying our product's ID. So we can say new product.id. And then I'll just simply copy this over for each one of our other properties. So this is going to be the name property. So we'll change this from ID to name. This is going to be the description input field. So we can change this from ID to description. And finally, we have the price input field. So we'll change that from ID to price. And now what we'll do is on submit, we'll pass this new product into a save product method inside of this submit button. So this is going to be a click event. And when it's triggered, it's going to call a method called save product. And we're going to pass in the new product. And this new product is going to contain the object of the product, which has an ID, name, description, and price. Now inside of our component, let's first create a property for that new product, which I'm going to assign a type of any and is equal to an empty object. And now let's define this method right here in order to edit the product. So below our getProducts method, I'll create a method called showEditProductForm, which is going to accept the product that we pass into it, which is going to be of type product. So when somebody clicks on this button, let's first check if there is no products. So in the event that they click on this edit product button and no product exists, we're just going to reset the form and then return out. Otherwise, we do expect this method to contain one product that we want to edit. So we'll start off by setting our product form to true in order to display it. I'm going to set isNewForm to false. So is, in order to differentiate when we're adding a new product. And then for our binding, I'm going to make sure that we set new product to the product that we get passed into it. And then it's going to display inside of this new product model that we defined right here. Okay, so now let's save these and see if our product edit is displayed. Now inside of my application, if I click on this edit button, you can see we're getting the product details populated with the specific product that we clicked this edit button for. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add in our show add product form method. So inside of the component, I'll add this right below the other method, and this is going to be called show add product form. So the first thing that we want to do is check if products has length. So if this dot products dot length, so if there already exists a product, then we want to make sure that we set our new product to empty. Okay, and what this will do, besides checking to see if there already exists a product, is reset this form if somebody has already edited a product. So this resets the form if edited product. And inside this method, all we need to do is first off set the product form to true so that it gets displayed. And secondly, we're going to say isNewForm to true. And the reason why we're doing this is because when we save the product, we want to make sure, are we adding in a new product or are we updating an already existing product? Okay, so if we save this file, check out our application, we are now able to click this plus, display new product details, and if I edit this, it will display the product details. And then if I hit this plus sign, it's going to clear the form so that we're able to add in a new product. And now let's go ahead and define our method for this save product right here. So right here as well, declare my save product method, which is going to accept the product that we pass into it, which of course is going to be of type product. And what we'll do here is we'll check if we're using the new form. So we know that if this .isNewForm is set to true, then we have a new product. And inside here, we know that we want to add a new product. Otherwise, we have an existing product. We're going to want to update the existing product. And then either way, I know that I want to hide the product form. So here I can just say this .product form is going to be false. And now let's go ahead and add the logic to our service for adding a new product and for updating an existing product. So in my product service right here, I'm going to cut this comment out and just paste it below so it's still here. And let's now create a new method in our service called add product. And this is going to accept the product that we pass into it, which is of type product. And now all I need to do is push this into our products array. So it's very simple. This .p items, which represents our product items, dot push, and then pass in the product. And let's go ahead and log out our p items. And now in my product component, all I need to do is call this new method that we created right inside of our if statement right here. So I'll call my service by saying this dot underscore product service dot add product, passing in our product. So now we'll save all and see if we can add in our new product. Got my application reloaded. I'll click my plus button and add in a new product with an ID, with a name. I'll just add in a new Pokemon, and the price will be 7. And you can see that our new Pokemon got added. I can open up my log and click this array, and you can see that it got pushed into our new list of product items. Okay, so now let's begin work on updating a product. And to do that, we'll be using the Lodash library, and we'll be using a couple of methods within Lodash. Specifically, we'll be using the clone method in order to make a copy of the product in order to display and edit, as well as a method called find index that will do the work of finding our specific product that we want to edit. So over here in Lodash.com, and we'll look at the documentation. And if you have any questions about these methods that we'll be using, so for example, we can type into the search field clone, and we'll get this clone method right here, and it describes what the method does. So this method, loosely structured clone algorithm that can make a copy of arrays, dates, objects, and maps. And we'll also be using the find index, which is an array method, and it's going to return the index of the first element predicate, returns truthy. So very similar to the filter method. And we'll be filtering or finding the index of the product based on its ID. Okay, so if we take a look at our product, and let's look at the interface right here real quick. We have the ID, which is of type number, and this is what we're going to be filtering for. And normally, whenever you're dealing with a thing within a database, it's going to have a unique identifier. And you'll normally be searching or filtering for that particular thing based on its unique ID. Now, when we're creating a new product, we're adding the ID manually. So this is a little bit different, but the concept is going to be exactly the same for when you're dealing with actual data in a database. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do here is add Lodash to our libraries. And we can do that by opening up our package.json, and I'll go down here, and then I'll add this, I guess, right below Bootstrap. So this is going to be our Lodash library, and you can always Google Lodash and then npm in order to find the most current version. So we're going to be using version 4.17, and what this caret symbol will do is it will always install up to the latest dot right here. So say Lodash is up to 4.2, then 4.2 will be automatically installed. Other than that, we also need to install our types. So I'm going to add in our Lodash typings types right here. And this will bring in all the methods. So inside of our component and inside of my service, I'm going to import the specific method that I want to use. So you'll see in our product component, I'm going to be importing the clone method. If I didn't include this types definition right here, then I would receive a blue squiggly line under the import of the method. One other thing that I need to do here is I need to install a more recent version of TypeScript. So right now we were using 2.1, and we actually need to use 2.2 or above. Otherwise, we'll get some errors when compiling Lodash with our scripts. And since we're using a newer version of TypeScript, I need to remove the earlier version inside of our node modules. So inside of my node modules, I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to find TypeScript, which is right here, and I'm going to right click and hit delete. And yes, delete selected items. So now I can just save this file. I'm going to hop into my terminal, and inside of the folder, which is simple CRUD, I can just type npm install, and it's going to bring down Lodash, our Lodash typings, as well as the newer version of TypeScript. Okay, you can see that it got installed. Alright, so now that we've got Lodash installed, we need to edit our system.js config file in order to let Angular know where Lodash exists. So we need to add it to both our map and our packages arrays. So right here, inside of our map, I'm going to map Lodash to its place inside of our node modules, which is node modules dash Lodash. And then I need to do something very similar for our packages. And I need to specify where the Lodash file's main index is located, which is going to be in the index.js location. Okay, so now it's set up to use within Angular, and I'll save that. Now, the next thing that I want to do is start editing my products. And we'll start in this product template. So right now we have this button, and it's the show edit product form. And this is on the right hand side of each individual product, so that when we click this button right here, I want to display a new form. So what I'm going to do is just copy over our current form right here, and we'll just make a new form right down below. I'm going to change the name of this form to edit product form. And I'm also going to change the name of our ng model bindings. So we'll be making a clone of the product itself, and in order to edit it. So we'll call this edited product, and then we'll use this new property for the ID, for the name, for the description, and for the price. We're going to create a new method down below here, and that method is going to be called update product. So when we click the submit button, it's going to trigger this new method. And we're going to, of course, copy in the edited product into our update product method. I'm also going to add a click event for our cancel button. So I'm just going to say click. And this is going to be equal to a method that we'll create, which is going to be called cancel edits. And if somebody's been editing a product and then they want to cancel, they can do that by just clicking this button, and that's going to get rid of any work that's been done to edit the product. Okay, so that's going to be it for our product template. Let's move into our product component. Now, inside of our product component, we're going to be using a Lodash method, which is called clone. And since we've already added it into our package.json, I can simply say import that specific method, which is called clone, from Lodash. And it works just like that. So we've imported that specific method that we just looked at inside of the Lodash docs, and now we can use it down below. So first off, let's create a couple new properties that we already defined in our template. The first one, if you'll recall, was called edit product form, which is of type Boolean, and is going to have an initial state of false. And then we also need an edited product property, which is going to be of type any, and is going to be set equal to an empty object. Now let's go down here, and we've already set up this show edit product form. So initially I was going to use the same form for both saving a new product and editing a product, and that's really not a very good practice. So I've decided to change that around. So now we're still going to check at the top if a product exists. So if a product exists, then this button is basically not going to work. It's just going to return in on itself. Otherwise, we want to display our edit product form. So we can just change this to edit product form, and that's going to be displayed. And you know what? While I'm at it, let's do one more thing, because at the top here, I'm saying product details. And we're actually using this to edit our product. So I'm going to say edit product details. And I'm going to do something similar up here. So let's, instead of product details, we'll just say add new product. So this is for the product up here when we're adding a new product. And this form down here is for when we're editing a new product. That should be a little clearer. Okay, now we want to display the product inside of this form. And right here is where I'm going to use a clone of the product that gets clicked on. So we can say this.edited product is equal to a clone of the product that gets passed into the form. So when we click the button, it's going to pass into this form the product that we've clicked on, and we're going to set that product equal to the edited product property object, again, that we defined right here. Okay, and that's going to get displayed down here. Okay. Now we'll scroll down a little bit here, and we have the save product. So what I can do is I'm just going to get rid of this else statement, since we're going to be using a new form. And now let's create a new method, which is going to be called update product. So update product is going to use our product service, and it's going to pass in our edited product. Okay, so we can say this dot underscore product service, and we're going to call on a method that we haven't created yet, but we're going to name that method inside of our product service, update product, and then we're going to pass into it our edited product. So remember, we're using binding right here. So we're going to open up this form, and we're going to display the product, which is going to be a clone of the initial product, and then we're going to edit it however we want. And then when we click this update product, it's going to submit that edited product, and it's going to replace the current product. So after we've updated that product, we are going to reset our form field. So we can say this.edit product form is equal to false to reset it. And then I also want to empty out my object. So we can say this.edited project equals an empty object. So now what we need to do is we need to create this new update product method inside of our product service. So let's open up our product service.ts file. And the first thing that I'll do here is import a Lodash method that I want to use, which is going to be called findIndex, which we already looked at. And I told you that it is a lot like the filter method. And we're going to grab it from the Lodash library. So let's go down here and add in our new update product method. So this is going to be update product, and we're passing in the product, which is of course our newly edited product, and that's going to be of type product. So now we need to use our find index in order to find the index of the array of the product that we want to modify. So we're going to be looking inside of this p items, okay, which contains an array of all our product items. So what we'll do is we'll say var index, and actually let's say let index, since we're using ES6, and we'll use the find index method from Lodash, passing in this .p items, and then the second argument here is going to compare the product that we passed in. So we can say p, which is of type product, and we can use the lambda, which is the same as a function. And then we're just going to return the correct item. So we're going to look for the ID of the item that we passed in and compare it to our list of products. So now index is going to represent the item in our list of products that we're filtering for. Now I can say this.p items at the index is equal to the product, right? So we passed in a product right here. And now we're going to modify the product that we found to equal the newly edited product. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and also add in our cancel edits method. So if we're making changes to our product and in the middle we want to cancel and stop making any changes, this method will do that logic. And for this, I'm just going to say this dot edited product is going to equal an empty object to clear it out. And then I'm just going to hide our product form, which is edit product form equaling false. So now I'll save everything and let's test this out. Back in my console, I'm going to type npm start. Okay, it's going to launch my browser and I'm going to open up my console window. And we'll edit this third product right here and we'll just change the name to glasses, and I'll click submit and you can see the name gets updated. Let's update this one more time. I'll change the price to 6 and click submit and it gets changed. I'll try editing this first one and change something. So I'll change this to scissors EEE and then hit cancel. And it got canceled. If I open up this again, we can see that the cancel button worked and the changes weren't submitted. And now we're ready to see how to remove a product from our list. So right now, if we click on this minus button, it's not going to do anything. So let's change that. So let's start off in our product template HTML file. And we'll go ahead and add a click event inside of our button class danger, which is right here. That we're going to name remove product, and we're going to pass in the product that we want removed. So now let's open up our product.service.ts file. And this is where we're going to add the logic for deleting the product. So we'll scroll down below our update product method. And I'm going to name the method in our service file delete product. And we're going to be passing in the product that we want deleted. And it's going to be of type product. For this method, I'm just going to use the built-in splice method. And if you're not familiar with splice, you can just Google JavaScript splice. But what I can do is I can take the array of items, which we've named p items. Again, this is our data source of items. And then we can chain the method .splice, passing in the array of items at the index that we want to remove. So to do that, we can just say this.pitems.index of, passing in the product. And again, this will just tell the splice method to remove the item at the index. And the second argument here is going to be the number of items to remove. So we only want to remove the one item from our array, so we can just say 1. And let's go ahead and log out the full items after we've spliced off or removed the item that we want. So now with our logic set up, we can create our method inside of our component. So in our product.component.ts file, I'll scroll down here, and below my update product method, I'm going to create the remove product that we made right here in our template. So I'll say remove product, passing in the product that we want removed, which is of type product. And then here I can just call on the product service method that we created. So we can say this dot underscore product service dot delete product that we just made, passing in our product. So now I'll save all my files, and I know that my application gets automatically reloaded. So now if I click this button, it should remove this product from our list. And if I check my console, you can see that the item got spliced off right here, and I'm only left with the two objects. Let's go ahead and remove the first product. And now I'm only left with the one item in our product list. So now to finish off this project, there's just a couple things that I want to do here. So the first is I want to add a click event to my cancel button when adding a new product. So we'll open up our product template and we'll scroll down a bit. And right here I have this cancel button, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did down below when canceling out of adding a new product. So here we'll first define our click event, and then we'll name our method. So the name of this method is going to be cancel new product. And I'll save this file and exit out. And now we need to create the corresponding method inside of my product component.ts file. So I'll scroll down here, and now I'll go ahead and create my new method right here, which is going to be called cancel new product. So inside of this method, I'm going to do two things very similar to what we did already in the cancel edits method, which is first, we're going to reset our new product object, and we'll just make that into an empty object. And then we'll also go ahead and reset our form field so it disappears when the user clicks cancel. So we'll say this dot product form equals false. So that's all that we needed to do there. And the other thing that I wanted to do here is add in a pipe to display US dollar denominations for our products. So we can do that inside of our product template. And I'm going to be adding this pipe right inside of this product price binding. So what we can do is we can add in a pipe, and the name of this pipe is called currency, and it's a built-in pipe. And then we need to set the denominations, which is going to be USD. And then we also need to set this to true. So for some reason, this defaults to false. So if we don't set this to true, then it's not going to display the US dollar symbol. Now let's open up the Angular docs and take a look at this. So right here, I'm in the Angular docs, and all you have to do is Google Angular currency pipe, and it will take you to this page. And it tells you how to use it. So all we need to do is put in the pipe symbol, and then use the keyword currency, and then the country code, and we're using USD for that. And then here we need to display the digit info. To get a better understanding of what that is, we can open up the decimal pipe right here for a more detailed description. And this decimal pipe basically tells us that how we need to format the pipe. So after we indicate our denomination, then we need to use the digit info. And this will just display how many integers that we want to have displayed. So what we need to do here is add another colon and then parentheses. So the first digit here is going to be the minimum number of integers to display. So we want to display a minimum of one integer, and then the second number is going to be a dot and then the number of decimal places. So we're going to say 0 to 2. So this just says that we want to display a maximum of 2 decimal places. So for example, if somebody were to input a price of a product that had 3 decimal places, so say $4.999, right? It won't display the third 9. It will just display 4.99. So I'll save that. And now I'm going to restart my application by saying npm start. And we'll start out by opening up this new product, and I'm just going to enter in some dummy information here. And then I'm going to hit this cancel button to see if this works, and our form gets undisplayed. And let's click this again to see that our form field has been reset. And now let's go ahead and add in a new product with a price that includes a third decimal. So we'll say ID 5. The name is going to be, we'll make something up. We'll say garden hose used to water lawn. And we'll make the price as 4.555. Submit this. And now you can see that the price gets displayed as 4.56. So the third decimal point place was removed and it got rounded up.